Hello? I love the big emotes. I know that's a new thing, but it's awesome. It really makes me happy to see those giant emotes in the chat. That's cute. It's a total party non-script podcast. I have a script. I have a script. I do. Okay, but not a perfect script because we are neurodivergent, the
Wow.
special people.
My very own fairy wings.
Oh my god, let's go. Okay, but today we are doing a special podcast in honor of Disability Pride Month. And all the three of us have a disability. And we thought, or I thought, that it would be a really nice opportunity to get together and talk about what it means to have a disability, as well as what it means to be your own boss and have a disability. How do you deal with that? What are the obstacles you run into? How do other people look differently towards you with your disability? Those kind of things, but we're always also gonna point out the positives of things that we have learned since figuring out that we had a disability. So it's not gonna all be like, oh, life is so hard. It's gonna be wholesome, cute, fun. The girls were already dancing in our little Discord call. So if that tells you anything, then I think it's gonna be a big success. I think I have like a few minutes before I will introduce them to you. Meanwhile, I want to remind everybody that we have two special things for the chat. If you want their links, you can type in exclamation mark. We have two links. So we have exclamation mark podcast, which tell you something about the two other lovely ladies that are joining us today. And then we have a call up exclamation mark as well, which gives you the links to both of their channels. Please give them a follow. They are absolutely lovely human beings. They deserve it. And Vamp is on it. My mods are here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Hello, how are you? Hello. We're gonna have a grand time. And we all actually, I have my TwitchCon badge on my mic because I thought that would be fun. Yeah, that's actually where I met Arevya for the first time in real life, and was like so hyped. I was like a little fangirl. I was like, I know her. I ran up to her. I was like, I need to give you this. It was great. And Leonie, I know through a Discord server we share, and we follow each other on Instagram, and we were both at TwitchCon. I remember seeing that live. You did! Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, I have 2 minutes to tell something about myself, because I didn't tell anything about myself yet. For the new people here, hello, my name is Faye, or Fairy Dust. I don't care how you call me. It can be either. I am a streamer from the Netherlands. I have a hidden disability, because you cannot see it on me. But I have endometriosis, which is a serious condition that actually hits 1 in 10 women worldwide, which causes a lot of pain, fatigue, etc., etc. This happened to me a few years ago, and since then I have been I was already pretty involved with feminist things, and then trying to, you know, get people to talk about subjects like equality and, you know, the problems that disabled people deal with. But since I kind of became disabled, I learned how hard it is to have a hidden disability, and how much you have to fight to get recognition and to be heard, especially as a woman, unfortunately, in this society. And in my work life, I'm an illustrator. I have been an illustrator for 8 years, and I do markets. I have my own web shop, and I recently marketed at the Artist Alley at TwitchCon. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, that's the little story about me. You can type in exclamation mark links to see all my stuff, but I don't want to claim too much of the time, so I will not. So let me just make sure that I set this up correctly and I don't like lose anybody in the void. Let me do this correctly. Okay, hold on. I have the ladies here. Now I need to make sure that I get off of the this is already breaking my brain. My ADHD is like, we can do this. Okay, so both of the ladies are you ready, ladies? Arevya was like drinking, like, okay, I'm just gonna transition and then I will turn my camera on there and we can get started with introducing the ladies. Are you guys ready? TwitchCon was a nightmare. No, it was not a nightmare. Alright, let's go. Well, let's just start while I am fixing this. We can just start with you guys. So, who wants to start introducing themselves?
I can jump into it if you want.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
Hi everyone, my name is Arevya and I'm a disabled and chronically ill content creator from Norway. I am a streamer, public speaker, and accessibility consultant. What I do day to day is that I make content about accessibility and how I bridge the way between gamers and developers to make sure that we speak on the same level, because a lot of people don't know what accessibility is and how they can use it. And I also travel around to organizations and game developers and talk to them about accessibility and how they can make things more accessible to us, the disabled streamers. And then I do public speaking. So I talk about my story, which is interesting and sad and boohoo and like all disabled stories, I feel like, at some point. But
Yeah.
the story is just that I grew up with not knowing that I have a brain injury called cerebral palsy, and I didn't get to know about that before I was around 13 years old, because then was when I started really struggling in school. Long story short, not the opposite. My parents didn't tell me because I was told by the healthcare system that I shouldn't do that, because not being told that you're disabled is better, because then you're not going to act like you're sick. Yes, we don't do that now, but I'm born in the 90s, and yay, since I'm soon to be 32 years old. They didn't have the same view of accessibility and disability as we do today. So I grew up not knowing I was disabled, felt alienated due to that, and then, yes, that was like my story. And when I then was like 23, I started getting arthritis. And due to that, I didn't get checked for my cerebral palsy. Long story short, my GP's office burned down, so my record just got lost, sort of. But it didn't get lost, it just never got digitalized. So my doctor didn't realize before I was 26 that I had a brain injury, because I told him, and he was just like, yeah, I wonder, because we were sitting in the office and I was just like, I wonder if all these problems is due to me having a brain injury. And he just went, huh? Well, what did you say? And I was just like, yeah, you know, the cerebral palsy I have. And he was just like, no. And then he started like, you need to go. And he needed to call up somebody and they needed to find it manually. And he was just like, nobody told me this. So yeah, long story again, short. I have had a weird life with that. But today I work for myself and do accessibility content and really, really enjoy that. So yeah.
Nice. Well, my name is Leonie. I'm 37 years old. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm an artist, illustrator, and a streamer here on Twitch as well. I became disabled mostly after a burnout that I had about 8 years ago now, so it's going towards a decade. But looking back, I probably had it longer. I also have ADHD, and it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I found out about that. So, in a real sense, I've been disabled all my life. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
this whole feeling of growing up feeling like you're this kind of weirdo and everything's so hard, and
Oh yes.
it's a very familiar feeling to everyone that grows up with any kind of disability. And I also have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue now. Those are the official labels that I got.
Check.
Which is always fun. Well, not fun, but it's helpful. I think in retrospect, I've probably always had it, but it got much, much worse after that severe burnout where I was left in a state where I could only lay in bed for months to years. Compared to that phase of my life, I can do so many things now. But it was really intense, and I came out the other side with these official chronic diagnoses, and also finding out more about myself through ADHD, etc. My disabilities are all invisible. Everyone who sees me always thinks that I am a energetic, fun person that can do everything all the time, which is great. It makes me very capable in certain aspects of my life, and it's easy to meet new people. But that's also how my ADHD interferes with my other disabilities because it makes everything else way worse.
Yes, that is a well-known feeling.
Thank you so much for your introductions.
Yay!
Okay, did it.
Does this help for my voice?
Yes.
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 Amazing. All right,
Oh
we're
my
back
God.
on. We're back on.
All
we're back on.
stuff's fixed.
Okay.
Ah.
Now is she? Hello, everybody. Okay. Woo! Thank you for the follow. Let's try. Okay, so I wanted to start. Let's straight.
Welcome to your own stream.
Yay! Okay, let's go straight into the questions. I wanted to start with a simple question. I already answered it kind of in the intro, but why do you guys think that Disability Pride Month is so important?
I have the perfect answer for this because I found it last year. So I didn't know about Disability Pride Month before last year.
Me neither.
Because I was like new into accessibility for like 2 years ago. And then there is a podcast or content creator called Tripping on Air, which is a person who has MS and her journey through getting the diagnostic and all life with that. And she said, Julie is Disability Pride Month. Disability Pride Month is not about pretending I like my disability. Disability Pride means I reject the notion that I should feel ashamed of my disabled body. Disability Pride means I reject the idea that I'm less able to contribute and practice in the world, that I take more than I give, or that I have less inherent value and potential than every non-disabled person next to me.
Wow.
And that is why I like Disability Pride Month. It's not about like, am I proud of my disabilities? Like, am I proud that I got arthritis or PTSD? No. Like, I wish I never had it. I wish I wake up tomorrow every single day and are healthy. But I am so goddamn proud that I ended up being able to wake up every morning and face the world and do all the cool things I'm doing. Even
Hell
with...
yes.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Hell yes for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think two big reasons why I think Disability Pride Month is so important. It's first off, the only reason why I know my chronic illnesses is because people were speaking about theirs during Disability Pride Month. In fact, Ellen, I think she's in chat. She was the first person I saw speaking about her experience with chronic fatigue. At the time, I didn't go for a chronic fatigue diagnosis, but it was the first thing that spurred me after years of laying in bed and not being able to recover from a burnout that was so severe that I was a completely different person. When my burnout was bad, like I couldn't even watch TV, I couldn't listen to music. There was nothing I could do, truly nothing. And before that, I was working full time. I had a ton of hobbies, super social, etc., etc. So it was really hard to find or to experience that I wasn't getting better despite my best efforts, despite doing all the things that I was supposed to do. And because of Disability Pride Month, people were talking about their disabilities and I saw myself reflected. I learned like, oh wait, but this this is what I'm going through. This is why I
Yeah.
can't see myself in this image of people that have burnout and do these steps and are then better. Instead, I see these people and they're experiencing exactly what I'm experiencing. So that's one of the main reasons why I think it's so important. And the other is the shame. I feel like there's still such a stigma around it. And there's no surprise, because most of our societies are built up in this idea of that we should, if not punish disability, at least like make sure everyone knows it's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh yes,
When
yes.
in fact, every single human being on this planet will probably get a disability at some point in their life.
Oh yes, you either die young or you live long enough to see yourself becoming disabled.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people with a disability, they work super hard to try and prove that they're worthy, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous because we're all inherently worthy just from being humans.
And also it is, I like your first point, because in the media, the traditional media, not social media, we are portrayed in either or. We are either somebody who you feel sorry for, and is the
Yeah.
only thing about us is the sob story of like, boohoo, my life is hard, or we're inspiration porn and
Yeah.
sort of something to be laughed off. And there is nothing in between. And social media, Disability Pride Month, all that has given us a possibility to talk with our own voices of like, hey, this is my life and my life is as worthy as anybody else's life, but it has its challenges and it has its positivity things, but it is still a human life and is worthy to be lived still. And
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's important.
I heard somebody
100%.
in chat saying an argument that people give is that you shouldn't be able to live off disability or not working. That's unfair to everybody that is working.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, I'm so angry at my neighbor whose house burned down, because I need to pay tax for my neighbor's house burning down to the fire department, but my house never burned down. So how
So why
dare
should I
he?
pay for his?
Yes.
Yeah.
How dare he burn down his house, which was not his fault, but how dare he? And by the way, that was sarcasm for anybody in chat, but like, how dare?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I
I-
think sorry, yes.
Yeah, I think it is. No, never mind. That thought just wandered away. No.
I
That's okay. It can just
Goodbye.
somebody said, what if I want to burn down my neighbor's house?
Yeah. My lawyer tells me I should not say that people should burn down other people's houses, so I'm sorry.
Cannot. That's called assault. Yes,
Yeah.
let's not do that. I mean, I don't have a lot to add to this, more than, I mean, as well, like, living an able-bodied life for a long time, and then at later life, I became disabled or became chronically ill when I was 27, so pretty late actually. And I was not diagnosed with ADHD as well until my 27th. So it happened very late for me, and that really, it's weird with your brain, because your brain is like living in disabled society, and you know, you're like flourishing, you're like, it's all good, my body works, you know, nothing's going on. And then you get sick, and especially as a woman, you have to like fight every single day again to be heard, to be taken seriously. And like, especially for people with the illness that I have, like, it usually takes at least 5 years to get a diagnosis. And all that time I just felt so much like what you guys also talked about, like the feeling of imposter syndrome, of feeling like ashamed of the fact that I couldn't do things, or like feeling like I was maybe overreacting, like it was not that bad because I had all my limps or whatever, you know. Like, I think that is, yeah, it's been a steep learning curve to get used to being less able-bodied and to kind of call myself disabled. That took a while. That took a few years. Yeah. 'Cause,
I were on a discussion, like a debate, like a political debate in real life with another disabled person, talking about like if gaming is actually not if gaming is good, but like the problems with gaming and the positivities with gaming and disability when those go meet each other. And he has illness. I think it's still called Duchenne's in English as well. It's a muscle illness where like your muscles just stop working, so they just disappears. It's quite a horrible illness, and you're born with it, but it's also a visible disability. And what we figured out, because this was like a discussion where you're actually like you're just discussing a topic, so you're not fighting. It's not that kind of a debate.
Yeah.
What we realized was that I, growing up, having to always prove that I'm worse than what people see, and he always had to prove he is better than what people see.
Yeah.
People always overestimate
Yeah.
me just looking at me, and they always underestimate him just looking at him. But the funny thing is that I'm more disabled, like in the form of when it comes to work, because I have a lesser I have a bigger disability benefits because I can't work as much, because he has more opportunities to do work with the accessibility and accommodation he has. Though he is more disabled than I am when it comes to like illnesses, if we're going to say it like that. But meeting with society, I can't function as well as him. But when people look at me, they're like, she's healthy, he is not. And we're like having the same problems, but from each side of the coin. We are experience world, but from each side of the world, which seems like if you're visible disability or not, you face the same discrimination, but from the each side of the coin. And it's really annoying. And oftentimes I feel like a lot of society tries to put us visible versus invisible disability up against each other and say like, well, they can do it or they can do it, so you should do it, you should do it. When it's just ableism in the end.
Yeah. It's all ableism, and there's so much in all of our systems, unfortunately. There's just ableism everywhere present.
Yes.
Let me see. I need to keep track of the questions, because I think we could talk forever. Let me see. Do I want to do this one? I mean, I think we talked a bit about this. Do we want to go into this? What does the word disability mean to you? Because I think, disability, the word itself it's quite a difficult one.
It's a loaded word.
Yes, and it means different from country to country. In Norwegian, we have different definitions. So we have funksjonshemmet, so you're like, which is disabled, and you have funksjonsnedsatt, which is two different. This is social model versus the medical model. So the social model says that disabilities comes when there's a difference between what the people can do and how the society is put up. So say you are in a wheelchair, you're disabled because society doesn't have a ramp for you. That is one way of looking at the disability, and that's the social model. Then you have the medical model, which is you have an ailment or something that is making your body not functioning. You're disabled a function in your body, and due to that, you're disabled. The English word, I feel, often just look at the social model, which I think is wrong. I think the social versus medical models are tools to look at disabilities. Both of them are correct in different settings. And like, as I've said a million times, if society gets 100% accessible, I will still have arthritis. That makes it hard for me to interact with the world, no matter how accessible it is. Even how many ramps and lifts and everything I have. So for me, disability just means that I go through the world with less abled body. I don't like lesser abled body. I don't like that word, but it is what it technically is. I will never have an able body experience every time I interact with the world. But that can be either 1% less or 100% less. It all depends on what I'm interacting with. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah, for me, disability or being disabled is defined by how limited we are or I am in the choices that I can freely make.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So every choice that I make, everything that I want to do is dependent on what my body can handle. And that includes my brain.
Yeah.
We tend to see body and brain as two separate parts of us, but they aren't. Your brain is inside of your body.
Believe it or not.
Really?
Believe it or not. And what you were talking about, the societal model of disability, I find that's a conversation that I'm always very interested in, because I've also had conversations with friends and family members where they're like, oh yeah, people only need medication for ADHD because of society. When for me, the reason I need the medication is not because of society, because in a certain sense, I don't really participate in society. I'm homebound most of the time. I don't have the pressure of a job or even disability, because I was kicked out of disability because I got a diagnosis that I didn't deem good enough.
Oh.
Because fibromyalgia is all in your head.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I don't partake in society in such a way that I am hindered by it. The reason I need my medication is, like, for instance, the other day I was meeting my friend in Amsterdam. I haven't taken my meds in a while because they help me work, and I have been working less because I have a double tennis elbow. It's annoying,
Just
but
part of the gang.
part of the gang, all of it. So I was on my way to Amsterdam. I was there. I just had to grab like one big stopover, grab a different train to Central Station. And I wasn't paying attention for half a second. I stepped on the wrong train, ended up in a totally, completely different city. And it was fine. He wasn't upset, but it cost me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I was very frustrated. I had to go all the way back. The whole thing took a lot longer, etc. That's a minor thing. It's a small thing, but it's a thing that happens to me all the time when I don't have take my medication. Like literally on my way to my ADHD consultation, I went there and I was in the subway. I was going, don't take out your phone. Don't take out your phone. You will miss your stop. Don't take out your phone. You will miss your stop. Do not take out your phone. I took out my phone. I missed my stop.
Yeah.
I was on time because at the time I was already, I wasn't working or anything, so I had all the time in the world. So I went everywhere an hour early.
Oh my god.
Because I knew that I tend to fuck up.
Yep.
And then it was like, haha, it's so funny. We probably don't even need to diagnose me anymore. And it's like a funny thing. But it isn't funny though, because it's
It's not
actually really
funny.
annoying. And that's only one tiny part of it. Because
Yeah.
the real hindrance, quote unquote, for me,
Yeah.
is my brain, is how busy it is how unable I am to do the things that I need to do to take care of myself in order to lead my healthiest life and my happiest life. So yeah, for me, disability is about that restriction on being able to make choices freely. And I know that even in a non-disabled life, you need to make choices, but there's a lot more choices to make when you're disabled.
Yeah.
It's always this or that.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I'm just trying to these days kind of embrace the word disability and trying to actually be like, okay, this is my life. And despite, fighting every day to be as able as I can be, I am still disabled, and other people should know, other people like close to me should realize by this time that I am disabled, and that has like serious repercussions for everybody that interacts with me, and that has to deal with meeting up with me and everything. And I think disability for me, and the reclaiming of the word would be a way to be like, okay, I own this, I stand for this, I'm no longer gonna be ashamed for being for not fitting into society's expectations of what a person should be able to do.
Yeah.
Her gluten intolerance is killing her friend. I don't think so. Yeah.
Disability is not a bad word,
No.
but it's so hard when society have
Yes.
made us think so for so many years.
But there is a certain sense of loss when you first embrace the word. At least there was for me.
Oh yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's so loaded. It is accepting that, forever inherently this is a part of my life, and maybe I really do need to make some changes in order to help myself deal with this.
Yeah, definitely. You that's so true. My God. I think that actually that is perfect as like a segue to the next question. Because
It's
I have
almost
a
like I
question.
did it on purpose.
You did. Oh, you're so smart. When did you first realize you were disabled? Because I had somebody in the questions or in the chat ask at some point, like, how did you get diagnosed, blah, blah, blah. So maybe we can talk briefly about this and just share what you want to share, obviously.
Yeah. So since like I knew that I had cerebral palsy, so when I was 13 years old, but like you're too young to understand what disability is. I didn't get into any community, so I did not understand. I did not look at me disabled. When I grew up, I thought disability means you have a cane or you're in a wheelchair or you're blind. Like that was never. I was never part of any community, so I didn't feel like that. When I got my PTSD because of medical trauma, not going to talk about it, but like that is why I felt like that was not good enough, which is so weird. But it felt like sort of that is a mental illness. That's something completely different. And also, I didn't feel that towards everybody else, but I 100% felt towards myself. And this is like horrible to say, but I felt like, but I'm mentally ill. That's my fault. Something wrong with me is my fault. And I know today, after 4 years, that is not true of like therapy, but that still is like a little bit of like the devil inside me goes like, fuck you, you made this for yourself. So, and sort of to this day, I find it sort of a bit hard. This thing you said earlier, I'm not disabled enough, I'm not ill enough. Even though I can literally bawl my eyes out when I'm showering because I feel like somebody is behind me. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I'm still battling that one. I think that one is really, really hard. But the first time I felt like I could own the word disability was when the first time I was sent to, because like, as I said, my doctor turned around going, what? When he figured out I had a brain injury. And he was just like, you need to do something about it. You should have been yearly checked up. This is horrible because you should yearly have been checked up to see if your brain has any impacts. So he sent me to Norway's best hospital, long live Sunnaas, yay, to like get a week or 2 weeks to be checked out and tested and everything. Went really, really well. And that was the first time I actually realized how severe it is to have a brain injury. Combined with arthritis, it's not fun because my brain says one thing and my body needs another thing. And it's really, really hard to deal with. But that is when I think the first time I realized, like, holy hell, shit, I am actually really ill. And then I got disability benefits. But still, some days when I wake up, I'm just like, what is this? This is just level 5 of pain. I can deal with that. I am able-bodied, and I jump out of bed. And like, there is still this. I have this extremely carving to do something with my life. So every single morning I have to battle with my cravings of like, if I was able-bodied, I think I would have ended up in like a really high competition field of like working where I could like elbow my way to the top, like kind of deal. So I have this like, inside you there are 2 wolves kind of boring meme.
Oh, yes.
It's my brain and my disabilities. And I think still to this day, I think sometimes it's hard for me to realize, but I think I was 26 when I really, and that is now 8 years ago, that I really realized, hey, you're disabled, chill. Yeah.
I just wanted to pop in quickly and say, like, I think that idea of being like, if I would have been able-bodied, I would have been like, you know, the president. Like, I feel like most people that I meet that have a disability or a hidden disability, whatever, that they are so, like, they are fighters. Like, it's just sheer willpower sometimes that gets you through the day.
Yeah.
And I just wanna do a little applause for all of us because that shit is hard.
Yeah,
It is. For
So,
everyone
yeah.
in chat who struggles with a disability,
Yes.
you're doing
Yes.
great, because
You're
that shit is
doing
fucking
great.
hard.
Yes.
And it's so many like internal turmoils because we live in a society that view our value compared to your ability to make something or contribute to society. So it's a hard thing there to find your self-worth in between everything.
Yeah. I think the first time that I really realized that I was disabled, or at least that I embraced that I was disabled, was a couple of years ago. And I think part of the reason why I felt more comfortable saying it was because I was recently part of a new Discord community, which some people may still be in chat, but it had a lot of people with disabilities in it, and they were artists just like me. And I was on vacation in Brussels, and we were walking around the town, and I was exhausted. Every part of me hurt. I couldn't walk another step, and we had tickets to go to a museum, a dinosaur museum. I like dinosaurs, so that's really cool. And I was just crying because I was like, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I can go there. I'm too tired. I cannot move. And we'd rented the little electric scooters, which was great because then I didn't have to walk.
Yes.
All of this stuff. And then we were like, maybe someone in the chat said, maybe you can rent a wheelchair at the museum. And at first I was like, no, but I'm not disabled enough for that. I'm not allowed to do that because I am capable of walking. And then I was like, at the time I was getting a lot of disability content on all my social medias and stuff. And I thought, I would never say this to another person. I would never tell anyone else that they're not disabled enough to get an aid of any sort.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So why the hell am I telling me?
Yeah.
So we did it. And it was, in a very weird way, the most empowering thing ever. Because I could go to the museum.
Yeah.
I saw the dinosaurs. I saw a big Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil. It was amazing.
I
absolutely could not have done that.
No.
And that was the first time that I'm like, okay, this thing, knowing that I have a disability and giving myself what I need can help me? Actually?
Yeah.
Because I grew up in an area where it's kind of like, if you can get up, you can function.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yes.
And saying that, you're not wondering why I landed in a burnout. Because I was literally going like, well, if I'm physically capable of walking to the subway or the tram 5 minutes from my house, and I can get on it and I get off it and into my office, then I'm well enough to work.
Oh, God. Yes.
Yes.
If you're well enough to play games or lay on the sofa, you're well enough to go to school.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should not have grown up with that one. My parents I think they feel really, really bad today that they were so strict with me growing up, like, because they also was told that is how you did, because that was how we did it before. That was literally how we did it. There were either you are bedbound and that's it. Now you're not allowed to do anything. And lucky you if anybody cares, or you go to school and work. There is nothing in between. And so it's often important to remember that if you go to our grandmas and grandpas generation, those people that had disability at that time, a lot of them got institutionalized. It was either or. Like, disability in society is a new concept, and it's a new thing that we only have had for like 50 to 70 years. And not me saying that all institutions are bad, because we actually need them. There are humans who need them, and they should 100% always get the support they need, whatever that in terms. Yeah. But it was like, if you are not part of look like us and like act like us, you are shunned away. Sadly.
Yeah, I think especially, I mean, for me, I grew up and I did not have any representation of any disabled people, nor people that are part of the LGBTQ community. Like, I had nothing. I just grew up in like a very privileged white neighborhood. And my parents, I suspect one of both of them have both ADHD, at least. So Leonie talked about this. I also had a burnout when I just graduated from art school. I started my first job, and then within half a year I had a bore out, they call it these days. Like when you actually, my brain was so bored by the tasks that I was doing. Like I would like have like my work on one screen. It was like a screen job. And then on the other screen I would like watch movies, podcasts, whatever. Like, but I was so bored and I got so tired of that boredom that I would like call my partner like crying. Like I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And I think the whole point, especially, I mean, I think a lot of people deal with this, is that there's like such a like thing that people say like, oh, but you can get anywhere if you just work hard enough.
Yeah.
So like, oh, but you did not get high grades. Well, you must have not tried hard enough. You must have not worked hard enough. You know, like it's your fault that you are not, you know, wealthy or doing well right now. That is
Yep.
only
Individualistic society.
is only your fault. You
Yep.
are to blame for this, and that's such a hard mindset to let go of. Because
Yeah, I had that too. Because we both grew up with ADHD. I thought I grew up as a teenager. I felt like I was so dumb. I thought I was just so dumb. I truly did. Even though there were like I had 6 classes, and one I was so far ahead of, no, 2. I was so far ahead of the rest class. It didn't even make sense. And the other 4 I was struggling hard, and they were like, "You will never graduate." They had a meeting about me, going like, "This girl, it's not gonna happen." I did graduate. I got pretty good grades eventually. Yay! And eventually I made my way over to design school. I went to communication and multimedia design, and I like found my place. I was interested, I was engaged. I was running the student council, student group. I was working part-time. I was studying full-time. I was doing everything, and I was like high on how good it was going, right?
Yeah.
And even then, I would fall sick so often. I would have to take weeks off because I had such bad headaches and I just couldn't get out of bed. But even though I could still do this, like I could still succeed. And then I got my first job and I loved it. It was a wonderful job. And I just wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove so hard that I could do this and that everything hadn't been for nothing and la 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 and all of this stuff.
Oh yes.
And I just performed my way right into a burnout.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
I
a
did
lot of
make-
people experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate that that's the way the societal system seems to position us and push us towards. If we
Yeah.
have this like innate feel of that we have to accomplish and have to perform.
And I remember one of the most horrible things I heard in the time when I was trying to recover from burnout and it wasn't working. I was talking to a friend and I was like, I think maybe there's a chance that I'll never be able to work again. And she said, "But you're too smart not to work." I was like, that isn't the issue.
If that was all it took.
That sounds
that
familiar.
was so nice, but
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Oh yes, my dad would say like, "Oh, but you're so smart. You should go to university." But university isn't made for people with ADHD, so I failed massively, and I was ill at that time. So I had to drop out because people thought that I was like stupid and lazy, and like making an excuse of my illness, and I'm like still just the way people behaved, it was dumbfounded. But I think I realized I was disabled. I think actually it was when me and my current partner we went on a train on holiday, and we took a long train ride we were traveling to Germany. It was like 6 hours, something like that, 8 maybe. And you know what you can do with German trains is that you can schedule ahead, plan your seat so that you will have a seat assigned to you. That way, you don't have to stand. But the problem with German trains is that the schedule can fuck up, and then you will miss, your how to say it?
You're connecting.
Your
Yeah,
connection.
connecting train. Yeah, transit.
So that like happened like 2-3 hours into our trip. We had to change trains, and there was no seating, and I lost it. Like, I just lost it. And I was like, I need like a tag or a thing on my head that says I am disabled, because I fucking need to fucking sit down. Like,
See, this is something that I don't understand. There's so many countries where you do have that, and we don't have anything like that available.
No, not here in Norway either. Like, they
No.
have tried making the lanyard, the sunflower lanyard thing here in Norway, but it's not an actual thing. It's not
No,
just
it's not an
some people-
official thing.
Yeah, we need to have it as an official thing.
Yeah, because this is
yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, okay. great segue. I mean, we talked about this a bit, but we can see if we can add to this, like, what's the impact of your disability on your life? Can you describe this? Like, how is the impact?
Everything? It's hard to say on everything and not. So, but it's like, so ended up not doing the career I wanted because of my disability. Ended up not getting the job I wanted because of my disability, and then not having to go to 4 years of therapy because of my disability. Like, everything, it's hard to imagine what my life would be without, which is why, like, before I ended up in therapy, I actually had a period of my life where I needed to grieve myself. So I always say, like, so my actual name is Elizabeth, and I always had, like, I nearly all had to have like an official funeral for myself, because when I realized that I was disabled, it sounds so stupid, but as I said, like, I'm a person that loves tests, or like, I love like just the feeling of doing something, of just like being able to get my name out there. Like, I love that. I wish I could do so much more. And then, like, when I grew up, I wanted to have a doctor's degree. I wanted to change in the world. I wanted to be the one that, like, do a change so that others could have it better and, like, do better for my community. And I wanted a doctor's degree and work with that and, like, come on. And then when I got really, really ill when I was 21, I was so ill that, like, I had to get carried out and in and out from my bedroom to the toilet, everything by my parents. Like, I was ill. I was bedbound. I could not do for a whole year. And I never grieved that. I never grieved the fact that I could never be all these things I imagined. And everybody told that I could be growing up in my head. So that is how it sort of have impacted my life, in the form of, like, me having to come to terms with that possibilities have been scuffed. Does that equal me not having a valuable life? Of course not. Oh my God.
No.
I'm getting married. Like, I'm getting married in October. I live in my own apartment. I have the most coziest, like, dog laying down there. I have amazing friends. I bring so much to my relationship and all that. But that is a learning thing. And it's like, it affects it on both ways. Like, I remember when I started dating my soon-to-be husband, and everybody was just like, "Oh, he's so nice that he wants to date you with all your disabilities," and I was just like,
"Oh no!"
Because, like, are you for real? You know how lucky he is to have got me. Just to, like, hoot my own horn here, but excuse me, I am a catch.
Heck yeah.
Oh yes.
So, like, that, like, impact my life in every way. And I think, like, more on the other side is, like, I feel more disabled when I leave my house, since I am lucky enough and privileged enough to own my own apartment. Everything in my apartment is set to my needs. So even my kitchen, because it's an old apartment, so I had to pull out the kitchen and put in a new one. And so the counter height is my height. So everybody that is really tall coming into my house is just like, why do my hands go like slightly a bit lower than what they normally do? And I'm just like, because it's my house. So like I have been able to make like my little castle of accessibility inside my own house. And then I leave my house and I'm just like, oh, I'm disabled.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, dear
Yeah.
Lord. Stress and like I always need to have a headset on so I can't hear society because I can't deal with society. And my brain just melts and I get like meltdowns and pain and everything. But inside here, I'm not that impacted. But yeah, I think like everything in my life is impacted, both good and way. I can't imagine a life without this because I think about it every single. Yeah, I never not think about it. I'm always in pain. I'm always in lag mode due to my brain damage, and like never a day I can't think about it. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, short answer, everything. It impacts every single aspect of my life. My friendships, both in a good way and a bad way, because the bad way is I've lost a lot of friends. A lot of people who couldn't deal with this new version of me, who didn't like that I wasn't drinking anymore or partying anymore,
Yes.
that couldn't have a conversation with me because I didn't work in a work setting anymore. I remember meeting up with some old friends, and then one person was going around the room, sort of like asking everyone, "So what are you doing now?" And he was like, "Oh, you're doing still your own business thingy with the drawing, right?" And moved on to the next person. I was like, "Fuck you."
Wow.
Actually, I'm doing very well. Okay, so I don't make a living, but other than that,
You don't have to say that. You're doing very well. End of sentence.
right. But yeah, it impacts everything. It impacts every choice I have to make. I can't. Like, I used to be a designer. I designed apps. I did a lot of I designed a lot of great apps. Like right before I became really ill, I made an app for families with a child with Down syndrome. We won an award. I went to London. It was like I was on the up and up, right? And then it was like, eh. And that what you were talking about earlier, having that period where you had to mourn and get used to the fact that this old you isn't there anymore and is not going to be coming back. That was so hard. And I really like the idea, actually, of kind of having a funeral for you. And one of the things that I kept hearing was like, oh, but a new you will appear instead, like some phoenix rising from the ashes. But it didn't feel like that at all.
No.
It just felt like, I don't know, I was just some little gremlin in my house trying to make it through the day, you know? Now I kind of feel that way. Now I've sort of found who I am now. Strangely enough, finding back all of these old hobbies, like drawing and playing video games and all of these things that I felt really passionate about as a kid are back in my life now, with the added advantage of experience and all these years. But
you have to figure out who you are again. Like you have
really
to.
do.
I at some point I was just like, even today, some days I wake up and I'm just like, I'm actually not sure who I am as a person, because like disability consumes me so much, especially in pain periods. It's like, I don't know what I am outside pain. I am 100% thinking pain, experience pain, waiting for the next time I can reduce my pain, however that is, if that is through medication, gym, showering, sleeping, because then I don't exist and don't feel a pain. Like, and then I don't feel like a person.
So,
Oh my god, yes. Yes, so much yes. People in chat also are relating to this. I actually recently, I've been like telling everybody from a very early age, like when I was like 18, that I wanted to be called Faye. It's actually not my real name, but like I really felt very detached from my birth name because I experienced so much trauma in my childhood that I was like, okay, she's not me. I don't feel like she's me. and I actually like I already like disconnected her like a lot, like because it was my working name, so to say. Like I used her for my business, and like my partners all called me Faye, and sometimes it would accidentally slip out. It would be like, "Oh, is that not your real name?" And I'm like, "But it is my real name." Like that feeling of like she's not. Yeah, what Arevya said. I actually recently got the courage to tell my parents that I wanted to be called Faye by them as well, and not the given name that they gave me, and that was a huge thing for me and very
Yes, I can
scary.
imagine.
Very scary, and first of all, some backlash happened, and it was very emotional. But yeah, I mean,
Did they end up understanding?
I think we're still in the process of that. I think yes and no. I'm unsure. I think it is a bit unclear.
That is, I think that is a good thing. Yeah, because the generation above us just need time. Sometimes they need process time.
Yeah.
They need the system is an old computer. They need to reset it sometimes. I think they will come to it. I'm crossing my fingers for you, because
Thank you.
at least I have
Me
had a
too.
lot of these big, like with my sister coming out as lesbian and I coming out as bi. Even though my parents are so supportive of everything we do, they sometimes just need thinking
They're
time.
buffering.
They're
just need to
buffering.
They just need to, in the same way we needed to like grieve our own experience in life, they sort of, everybody, I think, at least I believe everybody have an imagination of who people around them are, and sometimes they just need time to reset what they think about the person around them. And I think
And that's fair.
yeah, and I think the generation above us is just a bit, just takes a bit longer. They are the old internet. They, in their head it goes deep, because they're connecting.
That's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely. I think it will hopefully sort itself out in the end. But yeah, I can definitely say to that, I don't think specific person is in the chat right now, but like my Discord is very LGBTQ based, and like there's like a lot of queer people in there, and I also recently came out like 2 years ago as bi. It's already 2 years. Oh my god. Or
That makes
3.
us 3 for 3.
This is Disability Pride Month.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
Both disabled and pride.
Hey,
2 for 2.
I think like seeing like how people go through like their transitioning if they're trans, and how they deal with their name changes, and how they need to gather so much like how to say this, like confidence, courage to be like hey mom and dad, I am now called blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That was
That
so
is actually
inspirational.
what your story was reminding me of right away. And I thought, well, no wonder that I always feel so connected with people who are transitioning, because my whole last decade has been a transition of a different kind.
Exactly.
And it's not like I completely understand what they're going through, because their story is fully different, but the transitioning part and the feeling like there's a part of you that you were and a part of you that you are and or are becoming. Yeah,
and like especially like grieving the old version of you and all of your experiences. Oh, I'm making 2 big hand gestures. All of your experiences, like for me, I think especially also what Leonie said, like losing many people around you that don't understand, that don't support you, that's really hard, and having to be true to yourself and be like, I don't want to like endorse this friendship any longer because it's not serving me in who I truly am and how my life truly is. It's so hard. Like even
sometimes you have to redefine who you are
yes
in order to take care of yourself as well.
yes.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, one key characteristic is that I'm a good friend and I'm always there, and but I couldn't be there. I couldn't be
Yeah.
there at all for a while because I had to take care of myself, and that caused such a disconnect from myself because I couldn't be the person who I thought I was or was supposed to be.
She feels
Oh,
it.
yeah, I was just like, no, oh my god.
I just heard you.
Yeah. I was just like, not to steal your story, but realizing that you're a bad person sometimes because of your disabilities, and it's nothing you can do about it, but that does not make you not a bad person.
Yeah.
And having to come to terms with that and saying sorry to people, it's so hard.
And if you have the right people, they will understand.
They will understand, and they are allowed to be sad and feel rejected or whatever they feel.
Yeah, of course, because they're also people.
Yeah, but just like understand, and then also not like doing the white woman tears where you start like crying because like, oh, but I'm so sad because it is due to my disability. But actually having to sit there, own the fact that you were wrong, and own the fact that you did a mistake, and then go like, I am not going to be the center of attention. It's so hard. It's so
Yes.
hard when it's not your fault.
Yeah.
That was why I just like,
Oh,
I am
yes.
still working so hard on this. And
I mean, every day.
yeah. So yeah.
And I think I want to add to this is like, for people with ADHD, I mean, I personally struggle with like feeling very intense emotions, and if
Yeah.
you combine that with being in pain 24/7, that can lead to weird situations where you're like, like I have a really hard time to look over a bad period. So if I'm like in a really bad spot at that point in my illness, like I have the hardest time to actually feel it that at some point it will be better again. Like it just feels so heavy and like
They will never get better.
yeah,
Nope.
like that idea, like, oh my god, like I don't even like I don't want to say the word, but like I would unalive if this would be how it would be every single day. Like I think probably all of us have been there, but like, and then having to deal, like my partner having to deal with me being like that, and him not being able to change it. He cannot fix it for me. He can only be there and try, and that's so hard.
And that's with everyone who struggles with something. I think it's also very true with people who struggle with depression. As a partner, there's nothing you can do for your partner. There's no amount of positive reinforcement you can give, no amount of love you can show them that will make that truly different for them.
Yeah.
The only thing it can do is maybe give them some handholds to know, like, okay, this is here when I can experience it again. This person will support me until I've found my way back. But they have to do that themselves, and that's so hard. My partner also struggles with depression, so we experienced it from both sides. And it's always so hard because you want to do everything for your partner. You want to if you could give them your heart, you would. And it's also the way for them, for us, like if they could take away our pain, they would do it like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't do that, and that's really hard. And I think it's also very important to acknowledge that as a person with a disability, like, hey, I do see all this effort you're putting in. Someone in chat said, now I want to have a podcast with the hubbies.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, that is actually a really good idea because something my partner really lacks is someone who has those same experiences as him.
Yeah.
Yes,
because
definitely
all of his or most of his friends have just like healthy wifeys, and like it's just a different experience, and he doesn't feel comfortable talking about it with them.
Me and my soon-to-be husband have a lot of like, we had a lot of fights at the start of our relationship because I had to realize that he still had to live his life. Because he can't sit inside being disabled with me. he is an able-bodied person and he needs to go out and live his life. Now that is not a problem. That was hard in the start, but also then he needs to give me space to have a place where I can grieve my experience. So we have had like sort of, and it's so good, been together now for soon 9 years, and have this like ongoing understanding. Like when he wants to go to a party, he is always nice and he comes like, I can stay at home if I'm too ill to join. And I always say no. You have to go because you need to still experience life. It doesn't help if you're just going to sit here getting bored. I would rather you go out having fun and then you can come back tell me about it. But he always like asks me, and then he sends me like these cute messages while he's at the party, making sure that I am okay. But he also has to trust that I mean what I'm saying. And it's so important that if it is a day where I don't want him to go, I can't deal with this himself, I 100% can say no, and he will never get angry about it. Because he knows that I will only use that if I actually need it. And it's that trust you need to build. And that is so hard in like an inter-able body relationship where you have to learn to live with different expectations of life. So yeah, it is hard, but it is really, really nice. Also, yeah.
And I don't know how that is for you, but one thing that we also really challenged, that challenged our relationship as well, is that he had to learn to trust me that I would take care of me.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even when there would be many times where I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And you would have to deal with the fallout.
Yeah.
And that would be okay.
He needs to also learn that being a disabled person is not equal to being a good person or a saint. Being a disabled person is being a human, and we, as everybody else, should be able to fuck up and fuck our own life as much as everybody else. That includes me wearing high heels with arthritis in my feet, me drinking when I'm on like immune suppressing medication and getting paced and dealing with that for a week. That includes me drinking energy drink, eating pork, doing all these things I am technically not allowed to do, because he still does like, okay, he does this is snooze, which is like tobacco underneath. Norwegian, Swedish thing. He does that, and that is bad for him. So why shouldn't I be allowed to do bad things for me? I am still a human being and allowed. And he's a nurse, so he is like, he has this saying, where he says like every human being has the right to make their life go to hell by themselves. And it's like, it's like sort of bad translation, but it's like a saying of like, I will support you as long as you want and need it, and I will be beside you while you still do the bad things, and I will hold your hand, but you're allowed to live as a person. And I think that is important. He doesn't look at me, because in the start also, he sort of looked at me and sort of was like afraid of me, sort of like, oh, don't break. And I hate that. And I'm just like, no, let me break. And then we build up together. Like, I need to do these experiences as a human being. I need to run face first into the wall 20 times before I figure out is the door straight.
Because you have to do that in order to get rid of the fear of doing things.
Yes. And you need to live your life, and you need to, all of us do this, but all of us do bad things. Like, how many of people doesn't drink? That's bad for you. Eat some kind of like food that can be bad for you, or does
anyone like smoky barbecue anything? That's apparently very bad for you. That's gonna get outlawed soon.
And like, we should be able to do these things even though we are disabled. We shouldn't be better than everybody else. We just should be humans.
Yeah.
And
that was for us, like, I was very afraid of doing things, like anything that would make my symptoms worse. And my partner was more afraid of me doing anything that would make my symptoms worse. So I really had to go like, okay, now you have to just let me do things and try things. And maybe I'll be in bed for a few days after, and maybe I'll be crying, but I have to do it because I will go crazy if I don't.
Yes, like the idea, like, I think also for last thing I want to say quickly about it, and then we will continue, because We are
Because
running
we are
out of
rambling.
time. We are rambling. It's a good ramble.
Oh, oops.
Yeah. Vamp also added, he said, I think this is how some disabled people become kinky. Or it's just trauma.
Yeah,
just saying.
Way.
But yeah, I think also as a partner of somebody that is disabled when you're able-bodied is also constantly the balance between being somebody's caretaker and being somebody's partner, and that going constantly like this, because usually, you know, like you have bad periods, you have good periods, and then being able as the partner to like put aside the caretaker persona and be like, okay, I will be your lover again. Like that's such a hard
super
thing.
hard.
Really,
It's
really hard.
so hard. And like both ways, because you also like, you know, like sometimes you need your partner to be your caretaker, but other times you need your partner to be your lover, the love of your life. And those things they don't mix very well. So that can get so confusing, like emotionally, mentally. Like that is,
Yeah. And with my partner being a nurse, he so
Oh my
many
God.
times have had
I
to
cannot
say,
imagine.
I am not her nurse, I'm her partner, when we were in hospital settings. The only time he like does nurse mode for me, and that is like 100%. Like even when I ask him questions, he 9 out of 10 looks at me and say, that's a question for your doctor, not for me. and we should do that. I think it's a really good boundary he has, because he
Yeah.
needs to have he
Yeah.
needs to get home, not home and go to work again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think it's so important. And he also, the only time he has helped me is if I didn't get his help, we needed to get like a nurse to stop by our house because I had like stoma for some time, and then to change things and do like the wound, and he was just like, hell no. I like, of course I'm going to help you with this, because he was just like, you're not going to like shower once a week. Nothing that is wrong with that, but like he was just like, because you sweat more than once a week, so please do go to the shower. I will take care of it.
It's
Good to have.
golden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's wrap.
it's difficult when your partner is able-bodied. We were
Yeah.
almost lucky, quote unquote, that my partner got a burnout almost a year after I'd got one. And like, so I was doing a little bit better, and then he got a burnout, so then I was taking care of him instead. And it was like, and then he said to me, he's like, I tried to understand before, but now I gotta be honest, I didn't really get it, what you were going through and what it was like. So now, like, he fully gets it.
Yeah, just having the burnouts like line up. That's just another level of bonding, I would say. I wanna like segue a little bit more into talking about our businesses. And I wanted to ask you guys, how do you deal with running your own business while being disabled?
I don't.
I mean,
That
you don't.
No, like, okay, so jokes aside, so technically I am I'm on a year's sabbatical because I was supposed to do another work that didn't work out. So I'm on a year's sabbatical for my actual job, which is in an office, do accounting. And then I got a year's sabbaticals to do inclusive accessibility work. So I will be back at that old job. But because the actual job I had lined up last year did not work out, so I had to quit, I got shoved into doing self-employment this Christmas. And I was just like, yay. And oh my God, it is really hard. It's hard if you're able-bodied, and it's 1000% harder if you're not. And I have a degree in business and economics. I do not recommend people start their own business if they don't know what they're doing, or if they don't have a good reason, or if they don't have a good backup. Because it's hard. I think, and I see that on TikTok as well, it's this like illusion of running your own business being so good, because there are a lot of privileges. Like I could sleep to 4 o'clock, then wake up and then do my business. Nobody cares. I don't have anybody else boss than me. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. Like there is so many privileges and good things, which is
On
so
the
good.
downside, if you don't do anything, nobody else does either.
Nobody.
And also I don't think people realize, if you're going to have a salary just to be well, actually, with my economics degree, if you want a salary, say you want 2,000 euros in salary, that's really, really low. You want 2,000 in salary and really, really low. You need to get 6,000 into your company to take out 2,000 for a salary. So you need to work 3 times more than what you can take out in the salary, because you get taxed on whatever you get in, and you have working tax and then personal tax.
Oh yes.
So you need to make a lot to be able to take out anything. So it can be hard, but on the other side, on the good side, oh my God, the freedom of like being able to do whatever you need to do. Like you can do it how you do it, and like you don't need to be with a boss that don't understand that you have need accommodations. You don't need to fight for ADA or whatever it's called in your country. You don't need to stand up for yourself all the time. The like hardest meeting I had the last 6 months was with myself in the mirror, when I told myself, hey, I want 1,000 Norwegian kroners more in salary, and my boss, aka me, said, fine. Like you like that is the hardest thing I've had to do, like with that thing. But I think when it comes, if I were to say able-bodied person, disabled-bodied person starting their own companies, I think it's more positive things for, if you like, if the negative things is the same for everyone. It's a hellhole of taxes. You need to always, you can never get ill, all that jazz. But the positive things are more for disabled people, because we have so much trouble getting into society. I think UK, they lose up towards billions of pounds each year because disabled people can't go out in the workforce. And when they can't go out in the workforce, they don't get money, so they don't stimulate the economics in the country. So they lose money because people can't have work that is accessible for them. So if you can work for yourself, really, really good for everyone, society and everything.
Capitalism. I just wanted to say capitalism.
Yeah. We all like, it's not what you can do for capitalism, is what capitalism can do for you, and yeah.
All right. Should I?
Yeah.
I mean, when I burned out, I had no choice. I had to start my own business. As somebody who graduated from art school, there's not really another thing you can do. Basically, like that's the solid way, and then maybe you
Artist,
can get
teacher.
Yeah, it's like maybe
Those
a design firm, but those are like hard to get jobs that are like 60 hours a week, and nobody wants them.
They sounds like hell on earth when it comes to the law of how you are supposed to actually be paid and stuff. Because every designer here, they like work 80 hours and get paid for like maybe 30.
Yes. So it was a bad idea. I should have gone to business school instead. But I think I was very lucky that both my parents are self-employed. They run their own businesses, and they both work from home. So despite them not being disabled, so I always saw that growing up, and I could count on support from both of my parents, especially my dad with my taxes and everything, and that helped a lot. But yeah, realizing, I think for me, what actually impacts my business the most is the fact that I cannot physically be at places sometimes. Like, I would love to network in person a lot. I would love, like, I am bubbly enough. I will deal with it. I will charm everybody. But I cannot physically afford that energy to be spent that way. So there's like a lot of like exposition openings, I don't know, work events, or like, I don't know, you can name it, for designers or people in that business. And every time I just feel like, is it worth my energy? Like, am I gonna get something out of it? And probably the answer is no. And it's so hard to then look at yourself in a mirror and be like, okay, but my health is more important than a possible job opportunity that I don't know if it's there or not.
And whether it will be an opportunity that you will like. And
Exactly.
Or is
and
accessible for you.
Is it accessible?
A lot of
Yeah.
opportunities we get aren't accessible for us because they're just like I do game reviews, and sometimes they're like, yes, this game comes out in 2 days. Can you review it and get it done before the game is out?
Excuse me?
Yeah, no, I can't. Because that's normal for able-bodied
Yeah.
people in this.
Yeah, there's like crazy, especially with game dev or game reviews. But also like, I have been trying to apply to jobs for since about 2 years. Normal jobs, let's call it that. And I even decided like a few months ago, okay, I love gardening. I have a disability that prevents me to do heavy lifting, and sometimes I cannot do like heavy things in the garden, but I know a lot about plants. I know, stuff about growing vegetables. I have a lot of knowledge that I learned by myself without going to school for it. So I applied for a job, and they basically, I went to an interview, and they said, they called me next day and they were like, we want to have you. But there was a problem because they had the opportunity, or 4 days with a car, and 4 days is too much. 4 days, 8 hours with a car, and going to different places to do the gardening is too heavy. And then 3 days with like an electric cargo bike, which the government, it's too heavy for me to even lift and drive in all the weather conditions. That would wreck me so quickly. So I went back to, I was super scared to like say to them like, look, despite me, I think you girls will know, like, in your self-employment and stuff, you have learned to like be proud of yourself, and feel confident. But with this, I was so scared to tell this guy, well, look, I would love to get the job, but I need accommodations because I cannot do the two of the things. So can you make one doable for me so I can do the job? Because we both know I'm a good fit for the job. And they basically told me that they couldn't accommodate me. So that's also having to do with stupid letdowns like this, for no good reason, honestly. Like, yeah, it's still a bit gutted about that. But yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, that way self-employment is much better.
Yeah, for me, self-employment, it's sort of like, it happened really naturally. I was already a designer. I'd worked as a freelance designer before during while I was a student. And I sort of like, after I quit my job, because if I quit my job, the doctor told me if I quit my job, I'll be better in 3 months. Of course, that didn't happen. But yeah, so I started working as a freelance designer, and I did some jobs like that. But I just found that it's so hard for me to do what people want me to do with the restrictions that I have. So there will be weeks where I can work maybe an hour, 2 days of that week. And then there will be weeks where I can work maybe 4 hours for 4 days of that week. So it really fluctuates a lot, which made working with clients on a more permanent basis really hard. I mean, you could fib like an hour or two, but I don't feel comfortable saying like, oh yeah, I'll work on your project 40 hours a week or 30 hours a week and actually only be able to work 8, you know? So I started taking my illustration work more seriously. And one thing that really helped me turn it more into of a business is trying out very different things. So, a side note, I don't make like a full-time income with my business. I can only exist in this world by the grace of my partner, because I don't get any financial accommodations in any other way. But something that really helped me, especially with my energy fluctuating as it does, is trying out very different things and non-normal work setups. So, for instance, doing Kickstarters, because I can work up towards it, I can gather a lot of money, then I can get a collection made, and I can ship that out. It's a different kind of working than if you decide that you just try to make something every month, like Patreon, for instance. And
Yes.
all of that is really about like trying to figure out what you can do and how you can structure your whole business in a way that suits
Yes.
you, not in a
Yeah.
way that other people think should suit you.
Yes.
I remember that I used to be subscribed to Spoonie Box. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. It was a subscription box of goodies specifically for chronically ill people.
Oh, that's cool.
So sometimes it had like books written for and by chronically ill people. Sometimes it had like yummy snacks or whatever. And she was very disabled at the time when she was doing that. She's doing much better now. But what she did was she would create her schedule in such a way that one week she would do the research. It didn't matter on what day, she would pick out the new products that would go into that month. But she didn't have like, okay, Monday, 8 o'clock, I will. No. At some point throughout this week in the month, I will do that.
Yeah, I do. I work in that way as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another week I will do this part. I will do my marketing. And then one week I will do the packing. And then one week I will do the shipping. So it's like finding those kind of things that will work better for you, that aren't, you should post every day or you should do this, because all of that is trash.
I think
In
that
the
is
trash.
like, yeah, I think I technically sometimes it can be easier to work with humans because humans you can explain. I who work towards algorithm, I can't explain the algorithm, hey, I can't produce as much as you want me to.
Oh, yes.
So I also have to realize and stop comparing myself to people that are able-bodied or have another disability that still makes them able to work. Like some people a friend of mine who has ADHD, they are able to produce a lot because their ADHD makes it so that they only focus, which is a problem for other things in their life, but it doesn't concern work for them. So they have like 9 to 10 hours capacity every single day but that is also a problem because then they forget other things like eating and sleeping and stuff like that.
So you can't compare yourself to a person that does that when you can only give 1 or 2 hours a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is important to like see that, understand that you're working, but you can also do the same twerks when it comes to content creating. So like I had my first subathon, I will have a new subathon in 2 weeks where I have, so subathons normally for people who aren't that familiar with them, is like you stream and then every time somebody gives you a monetary gift, sort of like gift subscription stuff, your timer gets added. But I made an accessible subathon where I said that each day I have these amounts of hours to stream. That is my capacity, which was 6 hours. And then if the clock is still running, it takes over to the next day. We start again the next day. So if there's 12 minutes less on the clock at 6 o'clock Monday evening, we start at 12 o'clock the next day, and then we do the 16 more minutes and then see if we're going to continue to run it out. So that is a way of like, you can always start twerking the system. And also what I've figured out is that one, there is a lot of other people out there wanting to do the same thing because they're curious. And two, that then you get interesting. Because in a society where attention is everything, you need to be different. So I saw we talked about capitalism earlier, but the other thing we have compared to capitalism is the need for attention. Society, you get paid in attention to have people's attention.
That is all economy.
Yes, that's all we do. All of us sitting here, that is what we live off. The ability to keep people's attention. but then we're different. And that is attention worthy. Because I know people love to say that, oh, it's only the same 5 white straight guys who make it to the top. But that is often not true. That is not why. That is a privilege they have that pushes them. But it's often not that is why they are. It's either because they live in Japan and everybody wants to travel to Japan. They do really shitty things all the time. So people come in to see them do the really, really shitty things. Or they have a really, really hot girlfriend and everybody comes in to watch her. There is often other reasons. It is a privilege. It bumps you up, but it's not the reason why you're there. So it's even though, yeah, we are disabled, but that makes our difference. When I started talking about my experience with disability, I have grown a lot because I can meet people a place nobody else meets them. When I talk about, I have posted a Instagram 12 hours ago, and it's been seen 7,000 times and I have 700 likes on Instagram right now. Because I said, in anything else than I look bad at you if you say easy mode does not make you a gamer. And it's just because it connects to people, that one is getting pushed out. So yeah, it's the negative with all the disability stuff, and it is. But it also makes you unique and be able to do a niche and be able to put you out there for things people will not understand at all. Like say when I saw Faye's booth at TwitchCon, I ran over and I was just like, that's disability pride things. Like the second I saw it, and that is something you can then capitalize on and understand. You're in a niche, you have a market nobody else can get. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there explaining what a spoonie means, what the whole term means to people that had never heard of that. So
yes,
that's great. So you knocked me over.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was that's an amazing part. And I also feel like all the relationships that I have since are so much deeper, and I have such a deeper sort of like a well of understanding for other people. And because I can understand other people better, they can understand me better as well.
Yes.
I find that I make much better connections with people than before, when I was just being aloof and kind of mysterious about who I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that is important to see that I think everything in life is hard and easy depending on everything. But it is to see those challenges and understand that they are ways over it. There is a reason. There are a lot of us that are able to live with this now. So, and yes, I'm going to have to go back to my work now. But my goal, even though I say, and I started this whole don't be a business owner, I started the whole with, I am narcissistic enough that I will go back to this. I am just going back to my old job to save up money so I can continue doing this. I'm just going to have somebody else pay my salary for a whole year before I'm going to do this again. Because it is the best and the worst and everything and life consuming. Go from a 9 to 5 job so I can work 24 hours in a day instead. Like, I don't know why I do this towards me,
Oh,
but I do.
yes. Oh, I
And it's
feel
no
that.
less valid if you're not making your full-time income off of
Oh,
any of
no.
this.
Oh my God. I have so many friends who on Instagram and on TikTok and everything, they seems like the most successful things and ever. And their money is coming from somewhere else. It's just
Yeah.
life. You never
And I know
know.
so many of my disabled friends feel so guilty and like an imposter for not making bank as an artist, content creator, whatever their chosen direction is. And they feel so bad and they feel so guilty. But no, you're doing what you can. And the fact that you're trying every day to do something you love and share that with other people, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that.
There you go, from me to
Yes,
you.
thank you. Yes, I 100% agree with this. It's so hard. Yeah, I think
It is hard, but
yeah.
I think it's so worthwhile as
Yes.
well.
And there is a lot of things you can get thought. Like I think people maybe don't understand, that owning a business is also waking up every day and go like, oh, I'm supposed to do this because if not, the tax government is going to go after me. Well, today is the day I'm going to be an expert in this. And it's so okay. I have for this half year traveled on so many events with like these like really, really big, even like finance people, but they work for themselves. And all of them is just like, we're doing it, but nobody knows how. We're just doing it. Like, and it's okay. You're just try everybody and ask your friend. Like I have done like tax stuff and accounting things. So if you live in Norway, oh well, then you go ask me. Faye has said like have experience with like parents. Go and ask. Like go and ask people. Go like, hey, how did you actually do this?
Yeah.
Because then you don't need to sit 8 hours doing YouTube, so you can only go maybe 2 hours. Like, it's so many things. Get network, talk to people, and never get afraid of asking. Because I promise you, everybody is sitting or like with her blanket and going like, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. And everybody's going there. And as soon as somebody asks, we go like, oh yes, oh my God, somebody else has thought about this.
And my biggest tip, besides ask for help, is if someone offers their help, take it.
Take it.
Please take it.
Take it.
Take
You are allowed to take the help.
Yes.
I've had, so I have a double tennis elbow and I have a Kickstarter to get out. And one friend after another has been to my house to pack orders, to prep products and do all this stuff. And in the past, I would have been too proud to accept this help because I thought I would be a burden because I don't want to be the friend that they can only see if they work for them or if they have to do something. Turns out they all loved it. They all had a great time. And people love feeling useful and love helping people. If someone
Yes.
asks me for help, I don't even ask what it is. I'm like, yes, I will help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the thing that you need help with? A friend of mine asked me a question the other day and he was like, hey, do you want to? And I was like, yes. And he was like, do you not need some information? Or I was like, no,
Oh,
I'll do it, whatever it is.
No
and
problem.
rising tides rise all boats. Like, and this, as somebody who I struggle with jealousy, like legit jealousy, that's
Yeah.
a me problem. And I have learned that, like, yes, I can like get bitter because somebody else got this opportunity and not me. But I promise you, 100%, take it from somebody who is jealous. When everybody else gets opportunities, they will talk about you. If you're like in disability, if somebody else with a disability do good, you will do better because of that, because they are like walking the trail somewhat,
Yeah.
or a new
Yes.
trail or something. And it's okay to be sad when opportunities goes over your head. You just have to understand and work with that sadness inside yourself and understand that's a you problem and never a day problem. It's only a you problem. It's okay, you can live in that. But then also understand, like being logical in your brain and go like, if this tide goes higher, my boat is also going to be risen.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love that
100%.
saying.
Yeah,
That's a really
100%.
cool saying.
So
I
like,
was saying this to my friends as well. That, like a friend of mine was having some success, and she felt guilty towards
Yes.
me for not having that same success at that point in time. And I was like, no. Yes, I'm jealous, of course. I'm
Yeah.
also very happy for you. Two emotions can exist at one time.
yes.
Yeah.
And also the fact. Ooh, okay.
You were doing the movements again with your hands.
And the fact that you got the success means that it's possible.
Yeah.
If it's possible for you, it's possible for me. So, you know,
I wanna quickly.
will this work?
Yes.
Yay!
Woo! I want to quickly round this part of the convo off with asking the chat. Do
Oh, yeah.
you have some questions for us? Because we are running a bit behind. I don't think we're gonna make it very much longer than 9, but I think like 10 minutes or something would be nice to have like a whole end to this podcast.
Close it off.
If that is okay for you guys. So I want to ask the chat if the chat has any questions or things they want to share with us after this. I cannot make up serious questions.
So I pass. You shall not pass.
No. Shadow also said downside is when people equate all disabilities and go, well, that person can do it. Yes. That is
As a society we need to start like talking and normalizing, which is why we do podcasts like this, because we normalize all the feelings we have. So yeah.
We did also have some questions saved, right? So maybe we can talk about those.
Yeah, we also got a question.
Oh, we got a question.
Shadow Rise says, what would be, in your opinion, the best change society can do?
Let us partake in society, technically. If do not do this if your mental health is not there. I'm just going to say that before I continue. And then I'm going to say, go into TikTok and then look at the Olympics TikTok account versus the Paralympics TikTok account and see the difference. On the Olympics is 4 posts going, yay, you're doing really well, and 1 meme joke. On the Paralympics is the opposite way. That is the difference you can do in society. Society can look at us and see like, stop making us inspirational porn. Stop making let us be part of it in a way that is let us see the value of us. Like, understand that you are a value as a human being. And if anybody else tell you anything else, I'm going to fight them.
Oh, yes.
So that's okay. You can just come and I'm just going to hit. So
I would say allow people to show up as they are able. I think something that really restricts society as a whole is this idea, like you were saying, that experience, like, oh no, we can only have you on as an employee if you work this much.
Yeah.
In this particular way, la 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 la. I think so many disabled people would jump at the chance to work if they could do it in a different way. If they could work 4 hours a day, 2 days a week, or in just any other way. Technically, there are supposedly government ideas of how people are supposed to be helped, but it is so far from being successful. If people could show up, and this is in a social manner, in a work manner, and every sort of manner, if you can allow people to show up in the way that they're able to. If someone can show up to your birthday party for an hour instead of 8,
yes,
that's great. They were there.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that's the whole point. I think the whole point is turning the idea that able-bodied society is the standard. We should turn that around and be like the opposite of that. Be like, show up however able you are to do what you can do, and be the
and
standard.
It's not a tit for tat.
Yeah, it's not like
it's not like if I give you 2 hours, you need to give me 2 hours. It's not.
Yeah, it's also not like
I saw we got a question in chat about like your experience with doctors. Sadly, chat, I have PTSD that is due to medical trauma, and I cannot talk about that without getting severely triggered. So
that's okay.
I think we're going to have to jump over that one because I am not in a mental headspace to be able to do that at the moment. But absolutely, that might be something you can ask you guys. I'm not sure though, but like on a DM afterwards, if that is something really neat.
I saw someone asked a question earlier on in chat to me about the diagnosis process, and if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. I feel very comfortable talking about it, so that would be fine.
Yes, the same for me. Well, I don't know if Meep is actually in the Discord, but if you're in the Discord, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, we need to keep this a safe space for everybody.
Thank you so much for understanding, by the way.
Of course!
Yes.
Of course. Let's double check, because we did have a question that that got saved because somebody asked that before the stream.
Yeah.
Let me see. They're saying we already did. I think most of them we already did though. So I
remember one question that was asked before stream that was something along the lines of what kind of
Dumb things do you do to help?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
I
don't
love
think...
that one.
Yeah, let's
that.
do that one, and then we will wrap it up. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
I think we will be never ending. We could talk on forever.
Absolutely.
I think like I really want to invest in this, and that is like I saw it on Book Talk. Luna, pausa. Sorry, it's just my dog.
That's okay.
She's starting fighting with my feet. So I saw this on Book Talk, and I was just like, I want this. And that is to have like a small little. You can have like a stand beside your bed where you can have your Kindle, but you can also put your mobile phone in there, and you can get like this thing here, and regular controller can connect to your mobile phone. So if you have Stardew Valley on your phone, you can lay in bed with your hands underneath your blanket, and you can play games.
Are you hearing this,
I
Vamp?
know.
Are you hearing this, Vamp? I want this.
So you can get this silly Kindle thing, and just if you have like a Switch or anything, just make sure it can withstand the weight, because some things, a bunch of things are a bit heavier than the Kindle. But as long as you do that, and everything like controller like this can be connected to that, your phone and whatever it is, and you can play games in your bed. And as I've said at a trillion times before, you deserve to have a good time, even though you're having a bad time. That means that you deserve having a fun time and good time, even though you're ill. You don't have to lay and feel your suffering. That is not mentally good for anyone over a long period of time. It should always be in successions. So if you then can lay and watch a movie, YouTube, or play games, you should do that. Do it.
Oh, yes.
Vamp said, can she play Just Dance in bed? I think that's a bit difficult.
But okay, well, no, excuse me, I don't have my glasses, but like, see these glasses. Well, actually, Just Dancing have an accessibility mode where you can just dance from waist and up, because the person is in a wheelchair that has made it. So yes, you can, because you could just have put your thing here, and then you can dance from like sitting up. So actually, you're talking to the accessibility queen. Yes, you can.
Well, yes.
This is so cool. Yes, I knew that you would come around with something like this and be like, actually.
Well, actually, I'm so sorry. It wasn't meant to sound like horrible. I was just joking with you. Yeah,
not at all. No, not at all. It was great. Also, I think just a random thought that I just got is like, if you have difficulty standing for a long time, make sure you bring, like, they have like these small stools that you can just collapse, put in your bag, and then you don't have to search for a place to sit. Like, you can just take them with you.
And some of them are like painted like mushrooms. So they look like small mushrooms when you take them out, and they are so cute.
I have not seen those. I need to get that.
My cane, you can like fold it together so it gets like this small. And the same as with like the cane that people that is blind use, they can also put it together. Yeah. I can also do that with my cane. So whenever I need to leave my house, but I am not there where I feel like I need to use a cane, and I don't just want to have it on my back, I can literally just pull it together and put it in my backpack or my purse. Those amazing. Are brilliant. Yeah.
I'm also like, just don't feel afraid to buy the silly little thing that you think will make you feel better, even though you already have something like that, but it doesn't have this one feature. Buy the thing with the feature.
Yes, buy the thing. Accessibility is for everyone, and when we think about accessibility, we help the most in need to help everyone. That means if we are going to say this, we make games that is accessible for people who only have one arm. They have a permanently disability. If we do that, we help people who have a disability because they have broken their arm, or as you call it, like you had like the double tennis elbow thing. Yes. So that is temporary, but also situational
Situation.
Situational.
Thank you. Disability, or I don't like that they use that word, but we're going to use it there. You are carrying your baby or a bear. Either or, which kind of stage in life you are, baby or bear. But you're carrying something that makes you not being able to use your arm. Accessibility that helps one, helps everyone. Just use it, just do it. And for everybody who on my TikTok that says you shouldn't buy it because you're not actually disabled, blah, blah, blah. No, that it stimulates the economic. Like, again, well, actually, it stimulates the economics. Buy it. Like, none of maybe like a wheelchair, but you are not going to just randomly get money for that. But like, there isn't any too little stuff. Like, we have accessibility tools to go around for everyone.
All right, let's wrap up this beautiful conversation by quickly. I want us all to think of 3 positive words that we have felt or things that have been said in this stream or about disability. So we'll have a little second. I will also try and have a little second, and maybe chat also wants to think of some positive things to conclude this podcast with.
Mm-hmm. That is such a good idea. That's a really good question.
When I read it earlier, I thought you meant like about like business side, and the only thing I was thinking about is just pay your taxes. That is like the only idea. Pay your taxes. That's the only thing. No.
I have tortillas. That's nice. Good job. Do you guys want me to start, or do you have something? Shall I start?
Yeah.
I want to say, I would say, I mean, it's not really a word, but feeling heard. I think that is one of the very positive things about doing this with you guys. Like, feeling understood, feeling heard. Togetherness of like feeling of community, of not feeling alone. Like that means so much to me. And I'm also just extremely grateful for you guys to join me on this podcast that I just was like, let's do this. I just made it happen.
I'm very grateful to have been asked. It was so nice.
I think it's important to remember I have to like, but you are valid. I'm going to fight anybody who, and also you, if you think that about yourself, you will not die of a bruised eye. But in the form of you're valid in the state you are today. I like working towards something that doesn't lessen my value today. I'm allowed to be a valuable person today and see the benefits of a future. So if you do something today and like say you have a goal, you're allowed to be valued for what you are at this second, even though that you want to improve what you want to be. 100%. You're valid. And again, I fight.
Hell yes.
We fight. We all fight.
Yeah.
I saw in chat also accept everyone equally.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. I love that. Now I still have to go, but this is so hard.
Also, you're very, very welcome, Frantic. And I'm so glad that we could be of service and of help.
Yeah, me too.
That's all that we want, I think.
I would say acceptance and kindness are the sort of the words that I think about most.
Yeah.
Towards yourself and each other. I think that's the most important part.
Yes.
Got it, accepted everyone equally except the Danes.
Yeah, as a Norwegian, I just have to agree with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Swedish and the Danes, I love you guys, but you literally owned me, my own country, for thousands of years. F you.
Terrible. All right.
How dare you?
I'll just have like multiple times during the stream, I was like, I'm like almost tearing up because things that were said were so recognizable and so true, and I was like, whoa, it's so amazing to be able to hear it from other people that are going through similar experiences. And yeah, I want to thank you again, both of you, Arevya and Leonie, for being here.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having us. Thank you
much.
so for making this, because this is
Yeah,
your
thank you
this is
for
your job. We're
organizing
just here.
Your stream is 12 minutes over time. Thank you, Povich. I am aware.
11, actually.
All right. Well, just gonna say goodbye. And then I think you guys should just leave the call so I can, because I don't want to deal with the camera thing again. Let's try and make this go smooth, and then we will say good
Yes.
nights.
Will
and we can
do.
all have a good
Yes.
chill. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much
Thank
for
you so much.
everything. Thank you,
Hope-
chat.
Hope to see you over at my stream one day. See ya.
I would love that.
Bye.
Have a nice
Bye.
night. Bye. Oh my god. These girls, they're amazing.
You are so beautiful, and I love you.
I am so honored that I had them on my podcast. Like, I'm just gonna cry some happy tears after I finish the stream. Like, that was so cool. Thank you so much for everybody that was in the chat. I hope you really, really enjoyed it. Ban. Yes, exactly. Arevya knows what's up. I just wanted to say nice. You pinned it. I have to double check with the ladies, but if they agree, we can actually make this into a YouTube video so people can still watch the podcast back. I think that would be super cool, to have this thing to look back on, also for us. And again, happy Disability Pride Month. I hope you have a really lovely rest of your evening and a lovely rest of July. I will, because I have my birthday like very, very, very soon. Like, oh my god. I will make it into a video, no problem. And yeah, I don't have it. I'm glowing. That was amazing. I am so happy that we did this. I'm so happy. So that was already a birthday gift in itself. So have a lovely night. And yeah, I that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I wish you a very nice evening, and thank you if you're still in chat. Thank you for being here. Yeah, that's it. Have a nice night. Bye.